Welcome. How y'all doing? All right. So we here to talk about the My Credit system. This is a video for My Credit system and just giving you a general breakdown of credit repair, your credit score, and the resource of this My Credit system that you can now offer to other people and use to attract other people to your business, that you can turn into its own independent business that you can use to earn money for fixing people's credit because you have the tools to do so. So let's start. All right, so the facts behind credit, right? Now, 68 million people have bad credit. 40 million people have an error on their credit report. This is a $3 billion industry, lastly checked in 2018, and 79% of the people who disputed errors were successful in removing them, right? And lastly, everyone wants good credit. And even if they don't need good credit, they want it because a lot of people just need good credit for the vanity of it, of saying, yo, I got a 750 credit score. But we need to understand what the credit score is about. Why is it important? Why do we need it to be good? So what is a good credit score? So we got the best credit score is from 800 to 850. Excellent is from 750 to 799. Good credit is 700 to 779. This is fair credit. This is poor credit. And this is bad credit, right? So if your top or your max is 850 and the lowest you can get is 300, there's 550 points that are available to work with. Those are the points that will be used to build your credit score to where you need it to be, right? So when we're dealing with the credit score, the most important thing is to know what actually comprises or what are the ingredients of your credit score, right? So we're going to go through that real quick, right? So first we got payment history. Payment history being 192 max points out of those 550 points available, right? So payment history, this is what most credit repair companies focus on because this is kind of the easiest to correct or to improve. So most companies, they send dispute letters to credit bureaus. Credit bureaus send those letters to the people who you might owe or the creditors and all of that, and they can get things removed from your credit report using dispute letters and using other tools and avenues to get that done. And so when most credit report companies or repair companies say that they can help you with your credit, this is what they focus on. 35% of your credit score being payment history. But they neglect the other 65% because they don't really have the tools to deal with the other 65%. All they have the tools to deal with is the 35. And so now you will have the tools to deal with not only the 35, but the entire 65 and make yourself a monster in this credit repair industry because you just have information and tools that others might not be really dealing with. So like I said, the dispute letters deal with the payment history. Credit utilization. Credit utilization means the amount of debt you have. If you have a $10,000 credit card, a $10,000 credit limit on your credit card, if you use 3,000 of that, then you're at 30% utilization, right? And so the higher your utilization, the more negative effects it has or negative impact it has on your credit score. The lower, the better, right? And so this credit utilization is really dealt with by some of the tools and avenues that we have in this business. Now, after credit utilization, you have credit history, right? So the length of your credit history, how long you've had a credit card, how long you've had this line of credit, right? After that, you have new credit, right? So your ability to secure new credit, and then once it actually is on your credit report, the utilization of it adds it helps your credit score, right? And that new credit counts for 10% of your credit score. And lastly, your credit mix. So, whether you have the main mix or segments that we deal with is revolving debt and installment debt, right? So revolving debt is a credit card. Installment debt will be considered like a student loan, right? So the mix of those two different kinds of debt plays a big part with your credit score, right? So payment history. How do we deal with that? So we send letters, right? Letters, the debt validation letter, just pretty much a letter saying, I need you to prove that I actually owe this debt. And these letters work best when you're dealing with accounts that have already went to collections, because when they've gone to collections, now you're writing directly to the collection agency and you're asking them, hey, look, could you give me some verification that there's my signature or anything with me authorizing you having my debt, right? And if they can't prove that to you, if they can't prove to you that they spoke to you saying that they have your debt and that you authorized them to collect on it, then that means that that whole debt has to be wiped off of your credit report, right? So you have the debt validation, method of verification. After that first letter, you asking them to validate it. If they do validate it and say, no, this is your debt, then your second letter is saying, okay, cool, that's my debt. Show me the paper that I signed. And if they can't prove to you that you signed some kind of paper or some kind of note saying that you allow them to have your debt, then it has to be cleared from your credit report, right? And then you have violation of FCRA, that's the Fair Credit Rights, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Credit Reporting Act, just basically saying that if they violated these other parts, saying that they can't validate that you authorized for them to have your debt, etc., then they're violating the Fair Credit Act and they have to take it off immediately. And then lastly is an intent to litigate letter. Most times it doesn't get to that point, but that's just saying that if they don't take it off your report, you're going to take them to court. And that's kind of like a scare tactic for most credit report companies, right? So now after payment history, now we have credit utilization, right? So how do we deal with credit utilization? If you're in my econ, then we teach you how to get your money back from your W-4s, right? And stop paying so much in taxes. And that extra money that you'll be receiving back can be used to eliminate debt. You know what I'm saying? As you eliminate your debt, you increase your credit limit, right? Or you have the ability to ask your credit card companies to increase your credit limit, right? And then you have the opportunity to secure new credit after that. And all of those three things, they work simultaneously in conjunction to raise your credit score, right? So we have the ability to tackle the problem of credit utilization in ways that an average credit repair company couldn't do, because they can show you what's wrong with your debt or your accounts, but they can't show you how to get the money to actually pay down some of those debts that you have, right? After credit utilization, we go to credit history. Now, one of the biggest things with credit history, one of the biggest solutions is authorized usership. So if your mother had a credit card for 20 years, I mean, she's built up an incredible amount of credit history, and that comes with a lot of strength to it. And now somebody adding you on to their onto their credit card or whatever as an authorized user, what that does is that copy and paste the history from that one card, and it copies the history on one card and pastes it onto your credit report or your credit history so that you get to reap the benefits of that amazing credit history that that person has, right? So that's another tool that we use to increase people's credit history so that they can use that to increase their credit score, right? Card owner does not have to give you a card. So the important thing with this, with authorized usership, is not that you get a card and that you can actually use, right? You're not getting onto somebody's credit card or, getting access to their credit history so that you can use it. You don't get a card. You know what I mean? You just get the credit history so that you can now use it to get your own card from another company or build your credit history or your credit score up as you need to. After that, we have new credit, right? So again, we're dealing with trade lines. Trade lines is the same thing as dealing with authorized userships, but now new credit, you can deal with, department store cards, secure credit cards. Now you can actually put your rental history on your credit report, which you couldn't do before. You can get credit builder loans. It's a lot of different ways to secure new credit. But like we said, new credit is 10% of your actual credit score. So it's very important that you secure new credit because it shows people or shows lenders that you are reliable. And lastly, credit mixture, like we said, you have revolving debt and you have installment debt, right? So as you apply for credit, as you apply for car loans, as you apply for student loans or whatever, initially it's a hard inquiry that pulls on your credit, but afterwards it becomes an asset to your credit, just to prove that you are reliable enough to be extended this credit and use it properly, right? So that's about it, right? So when we're dealing with credit, this is our credit, my credit system, right? And so now you have, from those 5 factors on the credit score, you have the ability to help people with each of those and now give them a holistic approach to their credit score and their credit repair. So that's what it is. I'll see you on the next video.